Hi, everyone. You're tuning in to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast, a space of epic positivity, radical self expression, and transformational growth. Join me in celebrating this beautiful thing we call life with even greater ease, flow, and authenticity. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast. I'm your host, Nikita, and I trust, hope, and expect that you all are having a wonderful day. I had a few ideas getting into this podcast for episode 3, season 2 of the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast. And originally, I was having a conversation with my good friend Ali moments ago on a variety of different topics. She's a wealth of knowledge. I love talking to her. Thank you, Ali, so much for just being the beautiful, radiant, vibrant person who you are and all of the self-growth and knowledge that you are doing on your own because it is constantly an inspiration. And that is where I wanted to jump into this podcast, which is all about pivoting. Originally, something that came up in our conversation was about burning bridges and really stepping into the new becoming of self, where we have thoughts, beliefs, and ideas of who we are, who we show up as, and what is it that we do, what is it that we don't do. And I would love to get into that in another podcast about really being able to let go of the past in order to allow yourself to step into the new future that we are creating for ourselves. But today I'm learning how to pivot. And this is where the inspiration has come from the podcast because a word that Ali kept using was the word pivot. She is a beautiful entrepreneur that I'm gaining so much inspiration from, and she's stepping in to create a daycare for herself and for others. This is something she's passionate about, inspired by, motivated to do. And she kept using the word pivot because she's new to this endeavor. She has goals and dreams like all of us. And there's something that she told me in our conversation that while having a master's in counseling would be something that she would love to do, that it would be really easy for her to do, she said that what is really piquing her interest and what she would really love to step into is creating a daycare. So she's been asking herself to pivot. When something comes up on her journey to create this daycare, she's like, okay, I didn't know this was going to happen. Pivot. How can I keep stepping into my dream? How can I keep not necessarily, well, witnessing maybe certain things that look like obstacles in the beginning, but how can she keep moving forward towards her dream while being able to acknowledge maybe things in the present that may or may not align with her continuously moving forward? And it really got me thinking about where we can pivot in life. What does it mean to pivot? How can we allow ourselves to keep moving forward towards our dream, continue to create the life that we see in our minds, and then get to experience it in our waking reality, in our waking day? How can we allow ourselves to be disciplined and determined enough to walk the path that we would love to have in our life and stay flexible enough to witness when things are coming up that we didn't anticipate along the way and be able to acknowledge them, let them go, and move on. As I was thinking about this, I was thinking about water and how water can be powerful enough that in a hose can be jet streamed straight in the direction of where it wants to go. But to flow like water, to pivot like water, water doesn't need to see this giant boulder in its way and say, I will move you. No, it just goes around it. It sees the obstacle, but it doesn't make agreement with it being the thing that's going to get in its way. And so, as you're listening to this podcast, some questions that I would love for you to propose to yourself or just think about as we're tuning in together is where can I hold a vision for the life that I would love to have? Who is a man or woman already living the dreams of my heart? Where in life can I allow myself to pivot? Are there things in my life right now that seem like obstacles, but I can allow myself to move, not try to move them out of the way, but acknowledge them and move around them to keep on the path that I would love to take? I'd love to first start out as we get into this podcast. What do you truly value in life? If you're going to be laying your head down for the very last time, and we all will eventually, what is it that you wanted to have created? Or who would you have wanted to become? What is it that you wanted to have, do, be, create in this life? What are your values and what really means something to you at the end of your day or at the end of your life? I believe that when we're making small or significant pivots in our life, meaning we shift direction from maybe where we travel down our path to where we might continue to go, understanding, acknowledging, and holding true to these values will help us make the quote unquote right pivots, whatever that means for us. If we value free time in our life, but the pivot we're making is more constriction and working harder and not giving ourselves enough time to actually relax, maybe the pivot you're making might not be in alignment. But when we understand these values, then when things come up in our life, we're able to make these small shifts, auto-correcting, if you will, to continue to travel down this path. So, when you ask yourself, what is it you truly value in life? Do you value having time and money freedom to spend with those that you love? Do you value bravery and courage in the endeavor of creating a life that you love living? Do you value holding true to your faith and your higher power and seeking wisdom from something greater than you? These things, these fun values that you hold in your life are going to allow you to self-reflect and to help you hold even more true intentions for where you would love to keep going. And so, for the podcast and understanding how we pivot in life, we also understand that there's going to be certain things that come into our life that we had no idea was going to be on our path in the first place. For myself, I love having a very well laid out plan, and I'm, as I would love to call myself, a recovering people pleaser and recovering perfectionist. I love me a good plan of action. I love knowing what I'm gonna do start to finish. I love knowing the end game, and I also love knowing the steps that I have along the way. Checkpoints, if you will. Where I've learned to continue to master the art of pivoting is leaving enough flexibility and room, not only in my day, but in my life to allow me to see the bigger picture, to say, what is it that I actually want to do? Who do I want to be at the end of the day? What do I want to create? What am I working towards? This is my dream, my goal, my vision, and where I would love to be. So I know that if I'm on track or off track, where am I actually going? And at the same time, when I give myself goals along the way, not only do they feel motivating, but they also feel like I'm taking this huge big goal that feels very grand and how the heck am I going to do this anyways? But giving myself bite-sized chunks along the way allow me to know if I'm actually on the path of what I aim to achieve. Where I allow myself more flexibility when things don't exactly go exactly the way I intended to or how I set out is seeing the goal, having these bite-sized achievements along the way, but knowing that when things come up, how do I pivot? And so when I understand the next goal, but say, for example, I have a health goal that I'd love to achieve. And say that I have these markers along the way. I would love to be X amount of weight by X amount of time, or I'd love to bench this certain amount, or I'd love to squat this certain amount. But say, for example, I injure myself and I didn't expect to injure myself, or it just kind of happens and I have to take a certain amount of time off. I wasn't intending to injure myself along the way or be able to, change the direction. But how do I honor the situation at hand and take care of myself and also continue down the path? And so there are going to be moments when, okay, well, if my ultimate goal is even greater vibrancy, health, vitality, strength, flexibility in my body, okay, well, if I do normally do yoga every day, or I go to the gym every day, I swim and do whatever, but now at the level of fact I'm injured, how can I still move towards this? And the ways that I am able to pivot in this situation is not to say, well, I injured myself, I'm just going to give up on it completely, because that defeats the point of, aiming towards my vision. But it's saying, okay, at the level of fact, I'm not where my body normally is. That's okay. Things happen. We learn to pivot. So maybe I'll take extra time for self-care. Maybe it's going to the sauna. Maybe it's taking gentle stretches if my body says, yes, actually, I'm okay with this. Maybe it's going for a walk instead of a run. Maybe it's taking care of my body and nourishing it with food versus exercising my body and moving it. There are always things that we can do to help us along the way. And when we learn how to pivot, we learn how to be able to honor the sacred moment of not everything happens the way that we intend them to, but we just learn how to be flexible and keep moving forwards, and while also holding the bigger picture in mind. Another thing that really helps me when I'm thinking about making a certain pivot in life is starting from where I am. Sometimes and oftentimes, we have these big dreams and goals, and we have no idea how we're going to even achieve them or allow them to come into being in our life. A metaphor that I love using when making this reference is often in basketball, because a move that you can do in basketball is pivoting. The person who has the ball, they can bounce the ball, but as soon as they stop, they have to keep making moves while keeping one foot planted. They may look for an opening. They're like, nope, not there. And then they make a pivot. And you're like, okay, no, not there. Can I take a shot? No, I might be too far away. But as soon as they see the the opening, the player on their team, they make a move as fast as they can. Because if they hesitate, if they say, oh, is this the right move? Is this not? You have to learn how to make fast decisions in the moment, because sometimes the window of opportunity presents itself, and when you see it, you take it. Because sometimes there are other players and other things on the playing field that will make a difference if you hesitate. And so, starting from where you are is just taking a step, making a move. Look, analyze. Is this where you want to go? Do you see the opening? Is that where you want to take? Is that where you want to make the move and take that shot? Or is there something in your way that's like, okay, I'm seeing this, but it looks like there's something blocking your way. Okay, no problem. Pivot. And the idea of honoring what is your goal in mind? What do you want to do? You want to shoot the ball. You want to get in better shape. You want to find that beautiful, loving relationship. You want to create more time and money freedom for yourself. You want to and whatever it is that you have in mind. And so when you're just making moves as you go, you're not going to have everything laid out as you're making them, but as you keep playing the game, there's going to be more opportunities and more ways for you to receive the ball, shoot it, get the ball in the basket and like get your point. And a podcast that I was listening to that really inspired me was the episode with Tony Robbins called Getting Unstuck: Mindsets to Achieve Well-Being. In this podcast, he talked about a variety of things with his family, but something that really stood out was when he's coaching people. He says, in order for him to get people and help people make a move in life, he has to get them unstuck. And to get unstuck, he says that you have to be in the right state of mind. And it really had me thinking about when we're making moves and pivots in our life, what state of mind are we actually in? And this also has to do with our perspective and what we're actually giving our focus and attention to in life. If we're often thinking about a certain situation and coming from a perspective where we're looking at all the things that are wrong, we're looking at all the ways that it can't work out, we're looking at all the ways why this isn't the direction you're wanting to head in, then you're going to get a certain result because if you realize that the way that you think and the way that you feel is going to change your actions. And so he said, and he mentioned that how we represent a situation is where we're going to gain our meaning from. And so reminding yourself where you can even ask yourself these questions before making pivots, making moves in your life. Where am I focusing my attention on? Where am I really giving my energy to? And what am I paying a lot of interest in that's directing my energy, in which case it's directing where I'm making moves. Something that Tony Robbins mentioned in the podcast that I really appreciate is when he said, to change your mind, you must change your state. And he always started with physiology first, which I thought was a very interesting way of starting. Because oftentimes, when I would love to change or generate my own state, I often go to my mind first. I often calm myself down or I come into a generative state of breathing myself into the present moment. But something else that I practice, which he really emphasized, was being able to move your body out of whatever state it is in. He mentioned doing cold plunges. He mentioned screaming. He mentioned writing down everything that is magnificent because he's saying that prior to these states of, screaming, getting moving, like going into a cold plunge, writing down what's magnificent, we're often thinking about what's going wrong, why things aren't working in our favor, et cetera, et cetera. But when we understand that our mood, our state of being, our emotions greatly impact what actions we're going to take. If we're feeling pent up and stressed out or sad or unmotivated or angry, we are absolutely going to take different actions and they're going to yield different results in our life that are going to impact our results over time. So if we want to be in a different state, he said, move your body, do something to move this energy. And so he talked about writing. He talked about doing cold plunge. I mentioned in my last podcast that dancing or playing music or baking something can be a really gratifying way of moving energy and transitioning your body into a state of higher vibration, so to speak. When we are saturated and full of energy that is not necessarily self-serving, meaning it's very angry energy, anxious energy, fearful energy. It's like we're trying to fill our cup full of gratitude, but it's so full of energy that is resentful and negative and why it can't work, then the positive energy has nowhere to go. So when we're asking ourselves to make pivots in life, and we're coming from a state of being that is fearful or that is anxious or that is, I can't do this, we're going to continue to get very similar results in life. So, something I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast is, what are your values? What do you really care about in life? What do you want to create? Coming from an impassioned, energetic state is going to change your results. It sounds easy, right? But when we understand that if our energy is so full of, well, anxiety, fear, doubt, and worry, we have no room to energetically change our state. So we move it. How do we move the energy? We dance, we play, we bake, we just get ourselves out of the channel or frequency of what we were in order to allow the even greater into our body. So noticing what you're noticing is a powerful tool that I highly encourage you to do at any moment that you're feeling okay. At the level of fact, I'm noticing some energy in my body that feels lower in vibration. It feels like maybe like my stomach's curling in on itself, and I feel like I can't make a move here. I'm thinking about or seeing a situation in my life that's not the most ideal, and I keep trying to move it, fix it, change it in some way because it's not where I want it to be. But that's like seeing the rock and trying to move the rock. We want to flow like water. We want to change our energy. We want to notice what seems like an obstacle and move around it. How do we do that? Change your energy, change your state. Do something that gets you out of this fear, doubt, worry, this isn't working, and into, okay, how can I make a move here regardless of this? How can I keep holding my vision in mind and moving towards it? Where can I come from a place of creativity, of imagination, of I know that I can do this, it may not be this way, but how can I allow something even greater to surface when I'm feeling in a place of relaxed energy, of everything's already working out for me, even if it wasn't this first step that I took. But that's okay. I'll pivot again. I'll pivot again. I'll pivot even more until I find that something is the right fit for me. Taking a step back, that is one of my next points for helping make powerful pivots in our life, pivots that mean something to us, pivots that allow us to continue to live and walk the path of the life that we not only are destined for, but that we are continuously creating in our life. When we're in the thick of things, our heads are down, we're just grinding it out, so to speak, and we're just continuing to move along the path without really taking much notice about how we're feeling, if it's even the path that we want to be down. It can be hard to make moves when it feels like there's just things closing in around us, or that we're just going on autopilot, so to speak. I know I'm certainly guilty of it. It can be really easy to stay in a comfortable pattern of routine. I value routine. I think that there's so much beauty in routine and structure that helps me continue to move forwards towards my dreams. And routine and structure can become very comfortable. And I'm sure you've all heard on numerous occasions, either on this podcast or in others or in conversation, that you don't grow if you're comfortable, that change comes when you're uncomfortable. You're doing new things, you're making moves, and you're failing and rising from them. I find that for myself, and I've heard from others as well, taking a step back from things and analyzing the situation can be a really great way of reflecting on your life with fresh eyes. And we do this, well, just by seeing and asking ourselves, are we happy with where things are going in life? Is the path I'm on the one that I'm feeling the most connected to? Are my values reflected in the life that I am continuing to live? Are, am I happy? Am I feeling the sparkle of joy in life? Or am I just continuing to do the same things I always do and continuing to live this quote unquote successful life, but it doesn't feel like success for me? When I'm about to, or asking myself to make pivots in life, first thing that I usually do is take stock and do a little inventory of my life and seeing where I might be feeling so much sparkle in certain areas of my life and where I'm feeling a little lackluster. Something that you can do is scale a 1 to 10 and being really honest with yourself and authentic. How satisfied or gratified am I feeling in each area of my life? My health and well-being, my time and money freedom, my vocation, and my relationships. Am I at a 10 out of 10? Like, life is amazing, and I really am feeling so grateful, proud of, and deserving of everything that I am receiving and giving in the areas of health, relationship, time and money freedom, and vocation. Or am I just thinking that I should be feeling grateful, happy in life? Or am I really just trucking along? Am I just taking it step by step, but I'm not really enjoying it? I'm just doing it because it's what I've always done. It's what people expect of me. It's what I've programmed myself to do. And this can be really eye-opening and it can be fun and it can be playful to look at your longings and your discontents in your life. Things may be good, but good can be the enemy of great. When you're endeavoring to live the life of your dreams aren't going to be just good. They're going to ignite something within you that is passionate, that is well beyond sparkly, that brings a smile to your face every day and a joy in your heart when you wake up and say, oh my God, I get to live this life. I get to make a difference in the areas of my vocation. I get to be with the person I love every day. I get to have the time and money freedom to give in the places I want to give and experience what it is I want to experience. And my health allows me to walk, run, play, skip, jump into all of this. You're deserving of it. I'm deserving of it. And if your life is not sparkly, if it's feeling a little lackluster, pivots that you can allow yourself to make in life can come from, where am I feeling some discontent? Where am I feeling like I could have even more in my life? And what are the moves that I can make to help me get there? Holding this vision in mind for your health, vocation, relationships, time and money freedom is important. Because if you don't know where you're going, how are you supposed to get there? But when we're taking a step back and looking at your eyes from an observer, but also feeling the feels and asking your body, am I on autopilot or am I making moves every day that feel like, yes, this is what I want to do? We know how to make better and more empowering pivots in life when we know what energy we're coming from. And we also know how to make even greater, more empowering pivots in life when we know where we're going and the steps along the way that help us. And so if you're asking yourself, okay, well, I'm not really sure what it is I want to do or what is it I want to create. I also have Mind Mastery Monday every Monday to allow ourselves to continue to step into this, to gain not only better understandings of tools, techniques, and tips that help us ignite this passion within us, to have a direction and sense of where you want to go, but tools that help you not just now in your life, but long term, not just in one area of your life, but in all of them. So if you're feeling a little stuck, indecisive, or you just want to have some extra oomph in your step, check out Mind Mastery Monday live over Zoom from 3 to 4 p.m. PST, that is Pacific Standard Time, where we sit down together and I learn and you learn together the tools that are going to help you recognize where you want to go and the steps that you can take to help you get there. Linked in the description box down below is the link where you can sign up, and I highly encourage you to do this. It is a treat, a joy, and a beautiful way to continue to ignite that spark within you that may have been dulled from keeping your head down and feeling like you're just, walking, living your life, routine, comfort zone, etc., to stepping back, looking at your life with fresh eyes, and feeling confident and empowered to know what moves that you're going to make to help propel you towards the life that you actually want to live. The last thing that I would love to touch on before we depart from this podcast today is something else that I was really inspired by Tony Robbins' podcast. And he asked a very powerful question. What do you value more than your pain? I mentioned before that when our cup is full of anger, resentment, fear, lack, scarcity, doubt, all of those beautiful, beautiful emotions that are okay to exist in our body, but they do take up significant space when we let them, is knowing how to dump them out and to hang on to something and to live from a state of being greater than your pain. Mothers Against Drunk Driving was created from the pain of someone who lost someone very dearly to drunk driving. A situation like that can be held from a variety of different perspectives. This woman who created Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MAD, came from a place of pain. There was pain of the situation, pain of losing someone she loved and cared for deeply, but something greater from that emerged. We all experience things in our life that, again, we don't anticipate, that come out of left field, and we're there in the thick of it feeling many, many emotions, which are all valid. We're allowed to experience pain, sadness, anger, betrayal, guilt, jealousy. They're there for a reason. I'd like to think they offer beautiful, awesome contrast in life. If we didn't know extreme pain in life, we wouldn't know extreme ecstasy and pleasure, joy, peace, and gratitude. There must be something, a vision greater than the pain that you're experiencing in life to allow you to make the pivots you want to see in life. This woman who could have held on to her pain of feeling angry for people for being so careless and reckless, for getting into a vehicle inebriated and with the potential of hurting other people, chose instead to see a vision for the future of safety, a vision where people cooperate with one another, where people are educated, where people have more mindfulness and respect for others. This vision came from pain. It was birthed from an experience that she wasn't expecting in life, but she chose to rise higher than the emotions of pain. And that's when something beautiful emerges in our life. So, in your life, you may be experiencing a great level of pain, of sadness, of discontent in any way, and it may feel all consuming. It may feel like there is no way out of this. It may feel like you really want to hold on to anger, betrayal. They did this to me. Life is happening to me. That is going to fill your cup up to the max. And if you don't allow yourself to let go of and release this level of pain, of sadness, of guilt, of betrayal, of victim mindset, it will consume your life. It will consume your energy, your thoughts, and your decision making from now until you choose something greater. For myself, something greater than pain can be bravery. Something greater than pain can be choosing to look at the positive side in life and saying, I recognize that life is not just happening to me, it's happening for me. I get to have this life. I get to have all the pain. I get to have all the sickness. I get to have all the guilt and betrayal and hurt. And I also get to have the joy. I get to have the freedom. I get to have the gratitude, the pride, the courage, the resilience, and the growth of everything that happens in life. When I'm feeling stuck and confused or undecided, like I can't make a move, something that helps me rise higher than the situation is also recognizing and valuing that I am stronger and we are all stronger than any circumstance, situation, and condition. Something I believe in that's stronger than my pain, that's stronger than my conditions, is that there's a power breathing me that I am a part of that is greater. That's one of the ways that I help overcome my pain, overcome my indecision, overcome my guilt or worry or fear a lot of the time. That there, that if I know that everything happens for a reason, that there's a power, a very strong power breathing me, it means that there is always a way. And I choose to resonate strongly as much as I can when I choose to take a step back and see the situation for what I am making it out for, what I'm making it out to be, and choose to resonate more with this faith than I do in the pain or guilt or fear that is trying to hold me back and will hold me back if I choose to resonate more strongly with these current situations, conditions, and emotions. So when you're asking yourself, when you're knowing that you're about to make a pivot or a change, what do you value most in life? What is this vision for the future that is stronger than what you're currently experiencing? How can you move your body physically out of a state of whatever it is you're experiencing and into something that feels freer, funner, and more full of life? This is all going to help you on your journey because you're making changes, you're making decisions every single day. And you can choose to allow your autopilot mind to continue to run your life and get the same results you are having in life, whether you love them or you don't, or you have the ability, capability, and probability to change your life in the direction of what you would actually love to see. And so, in your beautiful life, as I'm leaving you today, I want you to know and remind you that you've got this, that you are awesome, that you don't have to do this perfectly, and it's okay to make changes. It's okay to start down a path and realize it doesn't align with who you are anymore. It's okay to change the way that you see yourself. It's okay to change the way that you see the world. And for some of you, this will resonate greatly. For myself, it resonates greatly to say it's okay to change, that you're walking down a path that no longer feels like it's in alignment. It's okay to pivot, recognize who you want to continue to step into, and make changes to continue to walk that path and make changes again and make changes again. You're going to grow. You're growing right now with every thought that you're thinking, with everything that you're nourishing your mind, body, and spirit with, you're changing. And as you're changing and growing, your life is going to reflect that. And when you're choosing to take step back, to honor where you are in the present moment, honor the circumstances, conditions, and situations, but choose not to make agreement with them, knowing that there's something far more powerful within you that is shaping this world and changing this world while you're living it, that you have the power within you right where you are right now to see your life and continue to co-create this life that you would absolutely love living. I hope you all had an enjoyable podcast experience. I trust, hope, and expect that you all have a wonderful, stupendous, and amazing day. I will look forward to talking with you all very soon, and I will see you all for Mind Mastery Mondays, again, 3 to 4 p.m. PST, over Zoom, live in action, very soon. Thank you all for joining me today, because it has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star review and share it with all your loved ones, because it helps in creating even more awesome content. If you're interested in learning how to effortlessly create even more health, vitality, and time and money freedom, sign up for my free monthly vision workshop live over Zoom. Until then, I hope you all have a powerful day, and I look forward to chatting with you all real soon.